Hey there, my name is Frøg, and today I'm speaking to the one and only mithR, currently of Apeks Rebels. How are you doing today, man?
A little bit rough. Didn't get so much sleep after our defeat yesterday against Big. That was a pretty rough one, but good nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. You win some, you lose some. I kind of wanted to touch about the new squad. So going into last season, you guys had a really significant overhaul with Rebels 2.0. What prompted such a big rebuild? Why not sort of build around the core that you still had with Sense, Shine, and Holland?
We to do with like different kind of things. One of them being the age limit within WePlay. We would be able to play with both Holland and Shine within the team, but we felt like that change was needed and a completely new project was required to build up, and also to give Shine and Holland a chance to find someone and like a team that was close to their own level, because they're both like really gifted and talented players. And we saw the opportunity to get some of the raw talent that the Norwegian scene has to offer, and to help them build up. And that's also like a part of the vision within Apeks to help the Norwegian scene grow. So like it was like the perfect timing to, if you wanted to start completely over, then this was the right time to do it. So we took that chance.
Right. And do you think that having such a fresh squad, so to speak, kind of limited what you could do in terms of practice and stuff going into last season?
Yeah, definitely. Last season was really rough because we didn't have enough practice. I think we played the first WePlay game in the last season with only 1 day of practice.
Oh wow.
And I think that we were pretty lucky with the maps that we got during that season, that there was actually maps that we did have a chance to practice. But then again, like to be fair, like the Norwegian scene isn't very skilled, so to say. So you wouldn't compare the Norwegian scene to such scenes such as the Swedish one, the Danish one, the German one. So like the individual raw skill in Norway is lower than some of the other countries, which makes the time requirement that you need to build up some of this talent takes a lot longer. With both that in mind and the limited practice that we had for last season, then I think the result just speaks for itself. Basically, that we got destroyed last season, which also makes the defeat from yesterday like extremely rough, because now we actually did have time to practice. So it was definitely not the way that we expected to start off season 5.
You touched on Norway being sort of different to the other Nordic countries. Can you maybe draw some comparisons? I mean, you come from the Danish scene mostly, but you've also worked internationally. What's really different with Norway and Denmark, maybe even culturally speaking, in terms of how they perceive Counter-Strike?
I think that because that Denmark has so many good individuals and so many great teams, some of those players who's playing on a higher level will automatically use some of their spare time with playing cash cups, face it stacks, whatever, with some of the other players who's playing on lower teams. And by doing so, they automatically just, even though that it might just be a tiny bit, then they're always just teaching them smaller things. I mean, I could even feel it on my own, like puck level from just having spectated RUPS for over a year, that the way that I was peaking angles just got different somehow. Like, so I feel like that is some of the really important things that makes the Danish scenes stronger. And then also that we just have more people who play CS in Denmark than we have in Norway, and Norway don't have as many like really high skilled players that play like with lesser skilled players in Norway. So it just makes the progression time and the like the growth go a lot slower here than it does basically everywhere else. But then again, like you also do have extremely skilled players in Norway, such as Rain and FaZe, or Jakim, who's also playing in Apeks, or you have Sly and Hara, who's playing in 777, or Halserk, who was playing in Dignitas, that we also hope to see play like in another maybe international team again someday. So there's not like that there isn't any skilled players, but like I just mentioned, 5, maybe 6, maybe, that I don't really see much raw talent other than those.
I see. But you know, you had a lot, well, presumably you had a lot of options moving forward with your career. Why did you choose to go to, you know, a Norwegian club and develop Norwegian talents, as opposed to maybe taking the slightly easier route of just joining a Danish team?
Yeah, so I had the option of staying in Mouse. I also had like another really big tier 1 team knocking at my door and that seemed interested at the time, but I had a really great impression with Apeks, and I was at a point in my career where I mean, I'm half Norwegian for the people who don't know, but I have family here in Oslo and in Norway, but I also wanted to help the Norwegian scene grow, because I can see the dedication and the ambition that Apeks has as an organization, that they want to become in Norway what you could compare Astralis has been able to achieve in Denmark. And what we're trying to do here, and the vision we have, is to create like a Norwegian flagship with Norwegian players and a Norwegian team that, even though that we might not compete on the same level, that we're competing on a way lower level, that people look up to in Norway, and they like as a brand and a esport organization that people want to be a part of. And I wanted to help build that, and I think it's gonna take some time. And even though that, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely rough and something else to coaching on this level, because the inexperience is like you need to change your entire aspect and approach to what coaching means.
I mean, I think it's very commendable and also very inspiring to see you do what you're doing now. But you touched on these players being, you know, obviously less experienced. You have a lot of coaching experience, but how do you really translate that with a younger squad? You know, what sort of timetable are you operating on?
We're operating on a time schedule that is like, we want to make like do some damage and do some international results, like you see Mouse NXT doing right now. We want to achieve that in like within the next 2 years. So like the timetable is pretty big, and like what I normally see, and also from having worked with teams like Alternate Attacks and Trick back in the day, is that all of a sudden, like, something just happens at one point where you're just gonna jump to at a completely different level, where it's just like you crack the code of what it takes to like jump up to the next level. And obviously the success criteria is much more reachable on this level. Like, you see progress pretty much every day. Coaching wise, I'd say that I've changed a lot from coaching tier 1 teams. It has been very, like, you always go down into the minor detail where you should have waited a little bit more here, you should have been a little bit more patient, or we need to adjust this flash so it just lands a little bit more to the right, so like the amount of times that we have flashed from our own flash or whatever is down to a minimum compared to what angles that we're clearing, or like you talk more game plan wise. So you constantly try to achieve like the last 5-10% on tier 1 teams, where when you're coaching academy teams like this, you're trying to build the foundation and you're trying to build the basics basically. And that's very, very rough, because sometimes some of my players, they don't see the logic behind that you have made a peak and you don't automatically just accelerate on that peak towards the side, or they don't know how to play like disadvantage/advantage situations, or how to react in certain scenarios. So like there is no shortcut into getting experience. You just need to be patient, and you just need to keep rewatching your games and discuss every single round. And again, like it's the best way of coaching on this level, at least that's my idea, isn't to tell them what to do, but to teach them how to teach themselves, if that makes sense. So you create some long-term growth where they're able to grow themselves, because I mean that's how you get the results, like in the long run, that you wanna get. So like it's a constant debate and a constant discussion where I let the players like create a dynamic and some discussions where they discuss the right approach and the right solution, and then obviously I'm going to constantly make sure that they are on the right path towards some of the right solutions, because like there isn't a single recipe to the way that you're supposed to be playing CS. But the best thing that I can do as a coach is pretty much just to conflict management and control the direction that we're going in, and making sure that we're going in the right direction in order to secure growth. And I can only do that by letting the players grow themselves, and they grow themselves by acting themselves and teaching themselves.
Right, of course. I wanted to ask a bit about the purpose of Apeks Rebels. Obviously, some academy teams use it as like a way to scout out talent, develop them, and promote them to the main team. I imagine there will be potentially an element of that in the future, given that like the main team is international in Apeks. But is that sort of the main focus, or is the idea really just more to keep a presence in the Norwegian scene and kind of carry on in that sense domestically?
Yeah, so the thing about Norwegian people is that Norwegian people are very proud of being Norwegian, and that goes for Apeks as well. So Apeks is a very, very proud Norwegian organization, and Apeks Rebels isn't going to be like a feeding system for the main team. But we want to have like a Norwegian team present. So we want to be we have an international strong team that is able to make strong international results as well. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Apeks Rebels team that is like the Norwegian project that helps the Norwegian scene grow, but also makes a presence within the Norwegian scene. And even though how many years it's going to take, then we're going to keep fight that way. If we at one point end up in the same situation like we did in just before last season, with losing 2 players to another esport organization, then we're going to keep building the Norwegian brand, maybe with one international player. But the idea is definitely to be like a part of the Norwegian esport environment and sticking to it.
Right. And so, given all the context you've given me here, what is the expectation for Season 5? Do you guys want to make playoffs, or, what's your goal for this season?
We definitely don't expect to make a playoff right now. I mean, we need more time, and you can also just feel that the players that we're playing against are extremely talented, and they are on a very, very high individual level compared to ourselves where we are right now. I mean, everything from us is always about where are we in a year, and not where we are tomorrow. And that is the constant approach that we're going to have within this team. We have obviously set some results, but right now we're taking one game at a time, and we know that we're up against some good opponents, but we don't want to end up last, and we don't want to be thrown out on our elbows just to because obviously it's a concern that if we're getting owned like we did yesterday and only getting between 2 and 6 rounds in every game, then do we even have a future within the WePlay league? So we're going to give it everything that we can to show that we actually belong here. And once we've proven that we belong in the WePlay league, then we can talk about potentially reaching going into a deep run in the play-ins, or even someday making the playoffs. But right now I think it's for ourselves and for Apeks, and also for the other teams in WePlay, to show everyone that it's not a mistake to have us here, that we belong here and we deserve to be here.
Right. Well, it really only does get more competitive with every season, right? The teams keep improving, so it's never easy to just join in a few seasons in. As a final closing questions, I wanted to know, do you have any advice for upcoming players, whether it be maybe people within the Norwegian scene trying to stand out, trying to break through?
It also depends on their age, I guess. But
Yeah.
I'd say that have fun with the game. Like, be serious about it. But what I have seen with many young players, and also the approach that the image that esports is trying to build right now, with you can play video games on a professional level while also being healthy and stuff. Like, remember on all of that aspect to have fun with what you're doing. Play pucks, watch demos, spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day on an empty server, going over your utility. Like, be serious in the way that you train, but most importantly, have fun with what you do.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was really nice getting to pick your brain a little. Best of luck with this season. I hope you're able to kind of show what you guys have been doing in the off season, and looking forward to seeing you guys play some more.
Thank you a lot. Thank you too.